So I suppose just to start off, it's a transnational project, and you've already met our partners. There are five countries and 6 organisations. And the idea is to promote the creative sector across our regions. It'll run for 3 years up until May 2018, and the budget is 2 million. And it's funded under a programme called the Northern Periphery and Arctic Programme, which from the name you will work out is for countries on the northern edge of Europe. So it includes the countries we talked about today, but also Greenland, the Faroe Islands, Norway are all included in that. So that's where we get the funding from. So you've already met with 6 organisations across 5 regions who are going to be implementing it. So why are we doing it? Why exactly are we doing this Creative Momentum project? I suppose from the talks that you heard from our partners, you will see that there's a lot of issues that might sound quite familiar in terms of the type of creative and cultural sector in those regions. So we're all relatively peripheral to different degrees. We have relatively low economic diversity in some of our regions, facing out migration. There are some issues about accessibility to market. And if you look at the creative sector in the regions, there's a lot of them are micro enterprises, well, mainly sort of people working by themselves. In the countries, there's a focus of the creative sector in our various capital cities. The local market can be quite small, so really you have to look to export markets and markets outside of your own area. And some of you may have completed a survey that we sent around the last couple of weeks, and if you did, thank you very much. This survey was to try and get a little bit of an idea about the sector and also to help us design some of these activities. So we had 167 responses, and we found of those 60% of people who responded were working by themselves. So I suppose that's a key feature of this sector and a big factor in the type of supports that the project will be implementing. If we look at the sectors, what we got a lot of the responses from was arts was the biggest, followed by design, crafts and digital media. So they were the biggest sectors that we got responses from. We found there was actually quite a few people were making sales outside of their own country. 68% said that they were exporting. And this is higher than any of sort of the previous surveys we've done. Looking at it, there's quite a lot of business going on between Ireland and Northern Ireland, but it does show that there is perhaps increasing export activity. And of those who weren't, 70% said that they would be interested in doing it. We also found that over half the people said they were part of some type of network or some type of a collective. And I think that's quite interesting in terms of people who work alone and the benefits they might see in a network and how the networks and collectives can be used as ways to provide support. So how will we try and, I suppose, find solutions to these common challenges? These are, I suppose, anyone here who's ever been involved in making an application for funding, you sort of have to set out, what are the challenges? How will your project do things to meet that? So the general area is about trying to increase the customer base for these businesses, providing opportunities to connect and network, looking at the areas of learning and kind of knowledge sharing opportunities, particularly between people in the regions. Focusing, trying to encourage businesses to sort of look outward and look at maybe some new opportunities outside of their own area. As Gary has mentioned, and I know Brian will talk about a little bit later, looking at the idea of place and how the location of these businesses is very important to what they do, and then also the use of technology to overcome barriers. So some of you might be wondering, how does the My Creative Edge fit into this project called Creative Momentum, and there's all different names. So I think quite a few of you may already be members of that site. It's a showcase site for creative businesses to profile their work. And these are marketed through a marketing campaign. It's free to create a profile, so if you haven't done so already, you can go to mycreativeedge.eu and register there. It was launched in June in 2013, and that was under another project called Creative Edge. So what this new project is going to do is we're going to continue to expand it and develop it, and I'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to do that, but essentially we're going to continue to use My Creative Edge as the way we deliver this Creative Momentum project. So it will continue to exist, it will be further developed, and it will be further expanded. And also, it'll be how you can apply for some of the supports. So I'll be talking about that when I talk about some of the activities. Just some of the headline figures at the moment. We've got about 570 people have published their profile. We have about 850 total members, so that includes people who've registered and have not yet gotten around to publishing their profile. I'm smiling because a few of them are in this room. We've had just over 90,000. I'm looking at you there. We've just over 90,000 website visits so far since the site was launched in June 2013. And that was 70,000 individual users. And we're averaging usually about 2,000 a month, but in the past month there was a bit more activity, particularly about this event and the survey. So what will we do? Essentially, the project has 4 main areas of work. The first area of work, I suppose you could think about, is about the individual, themselves and their practice. So it's looking at developing skills, innovating new products and ideas. So it's really looking at, I suppose, the individual. The next set of areas is about connecting people in the creative sector with other people in the sector. So both regionally in their own area, but also transnationally. And that's really the benefit of these type of projects, the opportunity to link with other regions. The third area of work is then, okay, you sort of worked on, skills, products, you've connected with other people in the creative sector. The next one is about getting out there to customers and clients and markets and expanding markets. And then the final area, as Pat mentioned earlier, is about sort of gathering information, making the case for the value of the sector. And hopefully all these combined will contribute to the growth of the creative and cultural economy in each of our regions. So specifically, what are we going to do? In the first area of the skills and innovation, this is quite funny because I had this obviously done beforehand, and the packs are, there's a copy of this in everybody's pack that they got. So we had a partner meeting this morning where we had quite a discussion on this particular activity, so it may have changed a little bit since then. But the idea is a mentoring programme for businesses interested in entering international markets. But what we were discussing this morning is really the benefit, particularly is a transnational relationship, and it may not be so much a mentor-mentee type relationship as more a peer-to-peer type of connection between someone in your sector in another region, and the opportunity to find out about the sector in that region and sort of share knowledge between them. So the idea is businesses who are looking at entering export markets, expanding export markets, and sort of advice on that. And it's open to anyone working in the creative sector. It'll be happening in all the regions except Iceland. It'll really be kicking off probably the second half of next year and through 2017. And we'll be having open calls. We'll be asking people if they're interested. And we'll be notifying you through My Creative Edge. And we'll also be doing social media updates. And from our survey, we found that 43% of people said they had never received any mentoring. Also, 43% said they had received mentoring, and there was another 10% who had been both mentor and received mentoring. So they're sort of, it's not a clear-cut sort of situation, but we very much see that the transnational opportunities are important there. The second one is about Creative Steps 2.0, and this is about looking at innovation and the ideas to innovate new product and service ideas. We're still working on exactly how this is going to happen. We had a lot of discussion on that this morning as well. So the idea really is coming up with innovation ideas. So again, there will be open calls through that, and we'll be notifying people through My Creative Edge, but it'll really be a little bit later next year before that kicks off. We're also going to develop the knowledge resource element of My Creative Edge. So we're starting really today, because all the presentations today are going to be uploaded to the website. So we're going to be looking at maybe having some live webinars, Q&A sessions, uploading speeches and talks at different events, kind of finding resources for the creative sector, and that'll be available on the website. And we found from the survey that videos are definitely what people want when it comes to information online. NUI Galway is also going to work on this business model toolkit, which will really be looking at the different types of businesses that there are in the creative sector with some guidance. So there's potential that some of you may be asked for interview on that, but that won't be happening for a little while. So as I said, the first set of activities are about the individual and their practice, and then the second is about trying to connect people. So one of the main ways we'll do that is what we are calling creative exchanges, but essentially they're going to be networking and information type events. They'll be happening in all the different regions, and they'll be on different topics. So, we'll choose a topic and we'll organise an event. In the west of Ireland, we'll be having them, in different counties on different topics. It'll be open to anybody working in the creative sector. Some of them may be about a subsector. So, for example, we were thinking about maybe having one on, say, documentary filmmaking, which would be for filmmakers. We might have some that would be for more people in the craft sector, or so on. These will be happening in all the regions. And what we're definitely going to try to do as much as possible is to have a facility to maybe watch some of the exchanges happening in the other countries to get the potential for learning from speakers in the other regions. The next is the idea of a network of shared creative spaces. So in all of our regions, there are spaces where creative people work together. And yesterday we had our partner meeting out at the Hive, and we got a bit of a tour there. And I know that the Manor Hub has just recently opened as well. So there's these type of spaces all across our region. So we're looking at trying to identify these and see if there's opportunities to use them as locations for events, and also to try and link them and network them transnationally. So I suppose we would find that probably a lot of them are looking at similar issues, funding and how they manage these spaces. And there's opportunities for kind of maybe connecting with other types of spaces in other areas. So if any of you actually work in a creative space, please let us know, because we're trying to build up a database of that to find out who's out there. We're also doing a thing called Creative Hotspots. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to pick one creative industry event in each region. And then we're going to bring people from the other regions to that. So the easiest way to think about it is, for example, we may pick Arctic Design Week in Finland as an example. If we choose that, in the west of Ireland, we will open a call for people, designers who might want to go to that, and then we'll pick a number of people and we'll bring them. And then there'll be an opportunity to go to an event in Iceland, to an event in Sweden, and to an event in Northern Ireland. And equally, we'll pick an event in the west of Ireland, and people from those regions can come. So it'll be across a mix. So there might be some on film, the Galway Film Fleadh, for example. So they will happen during 2016 and 2017, and that'll be an open call for people to apply for support to go to those. And then we're also going to work on sort of online connections through My Creative Edge to maybe improve the sort of connections that will happen between the members. As I said, we've over 850 at the moment members of the site, so we want to try and improve how they can connect with each other online. We have to work out how to do that and how to balance social media and other methods. So then the third area really is, about getting to the customers and the clients. And I suppose one of the main ways we'll do that is developing the My Creative Edge website, particularly as its function to showcase the businesses. So we'll be trying to redevelop, to look at the site in terms of the user experience for people who come to the site. We'll be adding new regions. We'll be running a new online digital marketing campaign to market the site. So that'll be happening throughout 2016 and 2017. So if you're not currently on My Creative Edge, you can register and publish. If you are, you might want to look at reviewing your profile. So we'll be sort of looking at remarketing that and how we can promote it as a real place to showcase the creative sector and the creative businesses from the regions. The third area here is we're developing a toolkit to help businesses develop good pitch videos. I'm not sure if many of you have been involved in like crowdfunding, doing campaigns on Fundit or Kickstarter or something like that. But really it's the video, it's the pitch video that can make the big difference with how effectively you are at raising money. And also obviously a video is very important for marketing yourself to customers. So We're going to develop some guidelines, and then we'll have support for a number of businesses to make a video. Again, that support will be available. We'll have an open call, and you can apply for support for 50% of the cost, up to a maximum of 1,500. And that will really be happening in 2017 for the call for that. The third area here is one that the partners in Iceland are particularly interested in and will be leading on, is the idea of creative trails. So it's kind of tapping into the tourist market and allowing people to visit creative businesses and venues. So we'll be developing new trails in both Northern Ireland and Iceland, and in the other regions we'll be promoting some of the existing trails. So there's already art and craft trails across the region, so we'll be trying to promote that very much through My Creative Edge. And as I said, there'll be new trails created in Iceland and Northern Ireland. So I suppose the final one in this, and I left it till last because this is our first support that you can apply for, and it has gone live today. Yeah, okay. This is support for businesses to attend a trade fair, a trade show, a trade festival, or a festival, a marketplace. Obviously, in different sectors, there are different terms. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to provide support of up to 50% of the cost of attending a trade fair someplace in Europe. The maximum per enterprise will be 2,500. It's open to any creative business from any sector. As long as, I suppose, the aim is to make trade, so it's not necessarily an event for the public or consumers, it's really for trade events. The application form is currently online, so you can apply through the members area of My Creative Edge. The deadline is the 27th of November, and it's for events happening during 2016, and then we'll have another call for events happening in 2017. It's available in 3 of our regions, so it's in northern Finland, southeast of Northern Ireland, and also in the west of Ireland. So I suppose if anyone has any questions about that later, you can discuss it with me. It's sort of explained. So the idea is you would pick what event you want to go to and just say why that is the best event, a trade event for your business. And then we'll be assessing those and selecting 3 per region initially, and then we'll look at how it's developing. And then the final area of work is being led by NUI Galway. And there's a couple of different areas here about trying to understand the sector. The first is the economic impact assessment, which is looking at the value of the sector in each of the regions. So there may be some surveys you may be contacted to complete about that. And it's really, I suppose, trying to just show the value of the sector. There's also other areas here, the Creative Sector Index, that actually I don't have a slide on, but there's a Creative Sector Index that will be developed as well. And there's also going to be work on looking at the supports and assessing the supports for the sectors, including our own Creative Momentum project supports, which means that, if you're a participant in any of the events, you will be asked for some feedback, and you may indeed be asked for some feedback on today as well. So that really sums it up. They are the different activities that the Creative Momentum project will implement over the next few years. We'll be notifying people about all of them through My Creative Edge. So I would say even if you don't have something that you want to publish your a profile right away, it's still worthwhile sort of joining the site, and then you'll be notified of any of the activities. So I'm not sure how we are for time. Are we okay? 1 minute, okay. So if anybody has any questions, I'll take them now, or we'll be available afterwards if anyone has any questions.